all the match day one results of these Olympic soccer tournament. Um, yeah, interesting results out there. Where should we start off from? So look, obviously we could start off from the two main ones. We talked about them earlier today, but Morocco were able to defeat Argentina 2-1. Argentina thought that they got the draw, but an hour-long VAR check that went the wrong way, that overruled that goal for being offsides by a little bit, has Argentina lose that game 2-1 to Morocco. And yeah, I think Julian Alvarez didn't really show up in this game. He didn't create many opportunities, didn't have much for himself, didn't create much. Argentina, they were able in the last half hour when they were down 2-0 to start, increasing how fast that they were playing. They were moving the ball around, but they just couldn't overcome the 2-goal lead with the VAR check going the other way. And yeah, now Morocco, who are captained by Achraf Hakimi, were able to get an opening win that puts themselves in a perfect position going forward. Now, Morocco and Argentina, they'll still be favorites to get out of the group. Argentina will still be favorites to get out of the group over Iraq or Ukraine. But it'll be a little bit more difficult for Argentina in the fact that you never want to start off with a loss. Argentina take on I forgot who Argentina take on actually next game. Which you can check right here. Argentina take on Iraq, so crucial game for Argentina as they take on Iraq, while who are coming off the win, and then Ukraine take on Morocco. Then we talk about another big game was the France-United States game. The United States couldn't take advantage of its chances. Lacazette, Olise, and Luc Balde took opportunity of theirs, and yeah, the U.S. lost, and now the U.S. need basically to win their next two games to advance to the next round, starting with New Zealand next week. France will take on Guinea, who's coming off of a loss. And yeah. Mali took on Israel, finished 1-1. It was very, very physical, chippy affair between the two teams. If you want to know the context, there was a little bit of protest going on. Obviously, Israel, with the political issues going on there with Palestine, and then Mali happened to be a predominantly Muslim country. It was bound to be a little bit of chippiness there. Mali is appearing in their first Olympic competition in soccer since 2004, and this is the first for Israel since 1976. And the first half was scoreless, few opportunities for both sides. Some quality chances, but both couldn't take advantage. And then Israel was able to open up with a really, really devastating own goal by Hamidou Diallo. When you look at, he kind of poked the ball into the back of the net. The ball, he looked like he was a striker in that moment. It was just really a bad look. But Mali were able to have a great response. They created multiple opportunities, and they found themselves an equalizer few minutes shortly with a great header by Chekna Dumbia. And honestly, Mali had more of the better chances. Mali looked more lively, but Israel were able to escape with the point, and it was a very important point to escape with. When you look at what happened in the other game of that group, and that happened to be Japan taking on Paraguay. Japan were able to defeat Paraguay 5-0. We always know Japan are strong at these Olympic Games for soccer-wise. That's just their culture. They take it seriously, despite the fact that they have no overage players onto this team. They were open their Olympic campaign by thrashing Paraguay 5-0. You got braces from Shunsuke Mito and Shota Fujio, And yeah, Japan only had one goal in that first half, though. They were able to get a red card, a red card after VAR intervened in there, which it was difficult to see at first, but that ankle was high. A little unlucky in the fact that he's trying to play the ball and he's just really, really late and really clumsy. But it is dangerous play. It's not intentional, but it is dangerous play. And yeah, Japan, they were able to only Japan, they took advantage of that red card, and Paraguay, they just couldn't get near the ball, and so many chances created by Japan. Paraguay just looked completely opened, and Japan and Japan, with the opportunities they created, they were just clinical with all their opportunities, and Paraguay had no answer for it. Now Japan puts themselves on top of Group 3, and this is with a great goal differential, and basically they put themselves in a position now. They win any of these two final games, they're almost a lock to get through, and now Paraguay has a massive fight to get out of the group, and it'll be difficult with the -5 goal differential. But Israel and Mali finishing with 1 point apiece, maybe gives them a little bit of a landline. Who knows? Let's check out the next games for these two teams. Mali take on Japan. That would be a very good game. While Paraguay take on Israel. We're excited to see that. Uzbekistan took on Spain. Spain are coming off winning the European Championship, and there's a few players in this team that were part of that European Championship team. Spain, they're entering these Olympic Games, with the chance to continue on what they did at the last Olympic Games and winning the silver medal. High expectations for them, with taking the likes of Pau Kubarasi, Eric Garcia, Fernin, the Barcelona trio, and they started off with a 2-1 victory, an important victory, but it wasn't an easy victory for Spain. Uzbekistan's they were able to go up and down with Spain, and they did not play with. They played with a sense of courage, despite Spain being a much better team in terms of talent and technical ability. But Spain, they were able to take advantage on a set piece opportunity with Mark Pubil scoring off a free kick on an early chance. But then Uzbekistan was able to equalize from the penalty mark. But Spain, they were able to find the winner through one of their overage players, and Sergio Gomez. Not a last minute winner or anything, but a go ahead goal later on in the second half. And then they were able to survive in that game, and this puts Spain in a great position to also advance from Group Z. Uzbekistan will go on to take on Egypt, and Spain will take on Dominican Republic. Speaking of those two teams, Egypt and Dominican Republic, they played out 0-0 draw. Egypt being led by Mohamed El Nene, while Dominican Republic is led by Julian Firpo. And the game was a 0-0 draw in the game. Both sides, they were, a little bit low, a little bit more boring game. Both of those teams didn't do much to really go and win it. Both teams didn't create much opportunities. A point with fair for both teams, and now both teams find themselves where a win in their next game will put themselves in a comfortable position to move on, entering those final games for them. Guinea taking on New Zealand, the two teams other than the away from the U.S. New Zealand, Guinea, they played some great football. Had a great attack, created a lot of opportunities, or they just lacked that real quality. They created a lot. They had energy, they had athleticism, but in terms of the lacking cutting edge in the final third and real quality in the final third, I think New Zealand just had a little bit more clinical nature about them. I think Guinea, they just weren't tidy enough and weren't just clean enough in the final third, even though they created a lot of opportunities or they had a lot of break moments. And yeah, in a lot of Guinea's New Zealand's goalkeeper Alex Paulson had to show up. 5 shots on goal in the first half, but they couldn't break them down in the first half. New Zealand were able to be clinical, take advantage of an early opportunity, but in the 72nd minute, Amadou Diawara was able to equalize for Guinea after a goal was shortly chalked off a few minutes before by VAR for Guinea. They were still able to get another equalizer, and then 4 minutes later, New Zealand's Ben Weni was able to take the lead back with a top 90, top left corner shot, go-ahead goal. Now New Zealand go on to take on the U.S., which is going to be a big game for both of those teams, and then Guinea take on the host France, who are coming off of a win. New Zealand, they put themselves in a position now that they don't necessarily have to go for the win against the U.S., and then Guinea, they face a difficult road now, losing to this game. They have to go into that France game, going for that result. Last game was Iraq and Ukraine. It's been, the last time Iraq was able to get a win at the Olympic Games was the 2004 Sydney Olympics, or 2004 Athens Olympics. I believe it was when they beat Portugal. Ronaldo's playing in that Olympics. But yeah, Iraq was able to come from behind after being down 1-0 to defeat Ukraine 2-1 in Lyon. In the first half, there was not much going on, more of a defensive game. But then wasn't much going on. But in the 75th minute, Ali Jassim was able to get a goal to take the lead. Ukraine took the lead early in the second half with Valentin Rubchineski. Iraq was able to equalize not that long after, and then eventually get the winner with Ali Jassim in the 75th minute. They were able to hold on, defend really well, and now Iraq go on to take on Argentina, which Argentina's coming in a must-win sort of situation, while Ukraine are also going into that Morocco game needing a win more likely than not, going up against Morocco, who are coming off a win. So those are going to be some fabulous games as well. We're going to get an exciting match day too. We really are. We're going to have some really big games and really big moments for these teams to rise up.